Now I'm going to introduce Malika and Malik, who were locked up inside youth prison as teens and released within the last year. Welcome to Malik and Malika, and they are going to start off by telling us a bit about themselves.
Hey, my name Malika. My pronouns are she, her. I am currently 20. When I was first introduced to the juvenile justice system, I was only 15, and I did 2 years in my county JDC. And then after that, when I turned 17, I was sent to IYC Warrenville, and I did another 2.5 years there. I came home when I was 19. I only been home for like 8 months. Since I've been home, I've been in college. I've continued to hold several jobs, and I've been being a mother.
My name Malik. I from Chicago Heights. Um, I got locked up when I was 15. They put me in the dope court. I went to River Valley for about 6 months. They gave me 5 years. And then I went to St. Charles, and I was in there for I was in there for 3.5 years. I've been to multiple cities like Harrisburg, Warrenville, but St. Charles, and um and um and I recently got out because of clemency, because the governor. I was doing so good in the facility, so they let me out.
Thank you for sharing. Now, can you both describe what was your experience like inside the youth prisons?
Really, like it was like it wasn't a good experience, but it wasn't a bad experience at the same time, just because I matured a lot in there. I also got my high school diploma, did college, and I really like learned a lot of stuff. I seen stuff I'd never seen, but it also can be a challenge just because everybody had their days. If the staff come in mad, and taking the anger out on you, or you feel me, it just like a lot of stuff that can irritate you, but at the same time, you shouldn't just take it for what it is. It's just like you in there, you finna be in there, so you just got to do what you got to do just to make the best out of the situation.
For me, two words I would use to describe my experience with IDJJ is challenging and predictable. Um, they kind of go hand in hand because it became predictable because we was really like doing the same routine every day. So it was hard to be like positive or get excited about stuff when it's just like the same exact stuff. And then it was challenging in a sense that like I had never been arrested before. I was out of my element. I was far away from home, so I didn't really get a lot of visits. Like I probably had 2 visits and I was there 2.5 years. Um, yeah, so just dealing with that made it like challenging.
What were some of the biggest challenges returning home?
Really, just like adapting back to the environment, because when you in jail, you like it's like somewhat the same, like how you move, kind of, but out here it's way different. And just since I haven't been out in a long time, a lot of stuff changed, and it just like, you feel me. It's like a lot of stuff I have way different. And jail made me like I had habits, like some stuff I still do that when I'm out of now that I'm out, people would tell me like, oh, you could tell you just got out of jail, or and just stuff like that.
For me, it was being unprepared because, like I said earlier, I was locked up at 15. I went in as a teenager and I came out as a young adult, and I was expected to be responsible for my own stuff. So I was expected to have stuff such as like my ID and my social security card. But being, having my freedom taken away, I was never responsible for holding those things. But when I came home, it was basically just like, you got to get it on your own. And then also kind of piggybacking off what Malik said was just like being in jail, the way you communicate, the way you move, the way you act is different because like, yeah, you may build relationships with staff, but at the end of the day, you still in like it's like a power, not a power struggle, but you know, they got authority over you. So like how you move and stuff is not how you would do in a free world. So getting back into that was challenging too.
Can you all share what did you need when you were younger instead of being sent to youth prison?
Um, I just think I would have maybe needed like a real like a positive male role model because I had my mama, but you feel me? It's just like certain things you were like a father or just any male role model only can tell you. A mother, you feel me? It's only certain things she can tell you too. But a male, I think it would have helped me out way more because I was playing football. I think a male would have just kept me on a straight path, and I just kind of veered off from that path. So it just happened from there.
I would agree that guidance and having access to different resources other than just hanging around outside or other than the programs that was already available to me because they clearly wasn't working. So just having, outside resources to do different things or to teach me different skills that would have kept my interest from going otherwhere, and show me something else and open different doors and opportunities that I didn't even imagine was there because I never had the resources or the skills to do them.
Thank you to Malika and Malik for speaking on their personal experience. It is very important for us to hear for young people who are going through it right now. And appreciate you both for, speaking on, these touchy subjects. Now we're going to kick it back to Sharif to talk about how being sent to youth prison has affected him into his adulthood.
I really appreciate that. Shout out to Malika and Malik. I won't echo as much that they actually said, but with me regarding, I actually visited St. Charles and I was did a half a year at IYC Chicago, and within that process, being sentenced, as far as like my education while being incarcerated, we're on a computer, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no interacting with the teacher. No, most things that we have conversations with them is like if we stuck on something, they're explaining to us, but the idea was just, it wasn't no hands-on like teaching us in a sense. The computer was doing most of the work. And as far as history, all the subjects of classes, you know what I mean, that was needed throughout my high school, my high school times. And when I came home, I know it was like in October, something like that, October. I needed, man, I really needed to get back in. I really need to get back in school. You feel me? I feel like I missed a lot. I feel like I missed just the presence of people. You know what I mean? And just through the authority that I was in, the facility that I was in. You feel me? Like as it was stated, you know, that authority. No matter how much we try to be ourselves, you know what I'm saying? It was always that like that stiff moment, you know what I'm saying? And we couldn't be loose, you know what I'm saying, because we was in a facility, but it was just still. And when I came home, you know what I'm saying, my family, they was going through a heavy struggle process, you know what I'm saying, just dealing with the situation that I was in, and going back to like, I couldn't even get my ID, you know, to be honest with you, they didn't prep me before I left, you know what I'm saying? They was just like, all right, you're going to go to court. And once you come back to court, you're going to leave from the courtroom. And that was at Hamilton. And they was like, just call your family and let them know that you'll be having court and that you'll be leaving. And then just make sure that they have some clothes because the clothes we were having was the IDJJ clothes. And man, I don't know how to say it. Like it was just irritating, you know what I'm saying? Mad irritating. Just sitting there within those 6 months or 6 to something days, you know, 6 months plus some days, of just like doing nothing, you know what I'm saying? You had to wake up on their time frame, you know what I'm saying? You're being forced to pretty much go to school without going to any of these education, anything, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, it was a punishment on top of that too, you know what I'm saying? So within that release, I was more than happy to be away from the facility. And one of the things I always said was, I won't never try to go back to that joint. But as I'm older, as now I'm through that process, my younger age kind of carried with me through my adult age, you know what I'm saying? And that was just through the police system and that pipeline that they have. So
Thank you to Sharif and all our speakers. If you have any questions for them, drop them in the chat and we will take a few. We will take a look at them at the end. Now we are going to move into the discussion portion and breakout rooms. We will be in breakout rooms for about 15 minutes where you will use these questions to guide the discussions. We will break out into 3 groups, group 1, group 2, and group 3. And when we come back, one person from each group can share 2 takeaways from the breakout room.
We'll be opening the rooms in just one moment.
Welcome back, everyone. Now we will have someone from each group share a takeaway. We will start with group 1. Anyone from group 1 want to go?
I think that was us, but I'm not sure. But I can take a takeaway. So we talked about just this kind of pattern of punishing youth or having punitive responses to youth without actually understanding behavior, and the need to have a variety of supports in place, right? So like addressing physical safety, addressing basic needs, more support in reentry centers, and having those important for those to be led by folks who are formerly incarcerated and being able to kind of walk the walk with you, provide guidance for things such as job readiness, school preparation, things that are, as someone in our group pointed out, kind of hard as it is as an adult, much more for someone who, you know, is not or has not been in community and might not be aware of how to navigate such things.
Thank you, Jasmine, for sharing from group 1. We will pass it on to group 2. Anyone from group 2 want to share takeaway?
Yo, I can share. My name's Key. I use they, them pronouns. In group 2, we talked a lot about the sort of like isolation that comes with being incarcerated and how one thing that we could really use to kind of something that's missing from a lot of our communities is access to community, if that makes sense. And so people talked about like mentorship programs so that young people have adults that they can look up to and like can rely on as resources. We also talked a lot about having after school programs so that young people can stay busy after school and that they have somewhere where they can go. We also talked about just like wraparound services in our community. So like having access to like mental health services, and really we talked a bit about like to Malika's point of like when she got out, it was kind of like she was just expected to be an adult and there was no one to really like guide her through that, or no real resources to help her learn how to get an ID, how to find housing, like all of these things. So that was kind of what we talked about, and just that really that need for young people to have community, especially once they get out.
Thank you, Keith, for sharing. Group 3, anyone want to go with the takeaways?
I believe I was group 3, right? So yeah, just kind of what everyone said already. Youth need programs, housing, um, programs, housing, and things when they get out of jail. Some youth be so lost sometimes coming home. They're taken away, and locked away for years at a time, and then they're thrown into this pool where they're supposed to just be able to wake up, get a job, go to school, do what they're supposed to do, pay bills, and none of that stuff is taught to them. So yeah, it's kind of what everyone else said.
Thank you all for participating and sharing. Now we will have our speakers answer a few questions that were submitted.
We didn't have any questions submitted, but if there is anyone who has like a burning question for any of our speakers, feel free. We'll give it a few moments to see if anyone has any questions.
I wanted to add that the preparation for when youth are returning to society, the preparation for their coming out should begin long before they're released, so that when they're out, they already have, if they need housing, that the housing is set up. If they need a job, the job is set up, and so forth, and the ID, et cetera, so that they can hit the ground running.
Anyone else?
I had a question, but I apologize. I got here late, so I apologize if this was already covered in the first 20 minutes. And then I'm also not sure exactly who the speakers are because I got here late. But if you can kind of talk about what your experiences have been in the youth criminal justice system. I know that's very vague, but I just want to open it up for people to share what they see as their experiences have been like.
Sure. Anyone wants to take a part of that question, or I can answer the question? I mean, I have personal experience myself. I'll just say, as a young person going through the system, these institutions, there are not a lot of things that, they can do for a young person once they enter back into society. Like far as like, there's a lot of organizations and programs to help you while you inside, but once you get back home, you got to live with living in a home with no electricity. You got to live with living in a home with no hot water. You got to live in a home with no responsible adults. You got to live in a home with, everything you got to do is on your own. So it's just like, once we get back out, you don't have anywhere to live. You don't have a stable place to lay your head. You don't have any employment opportunities for you. You don't have any educational opportunity. You don't have no one in your community who can put you in position to succeed. So, I mean, as far as like, going through the system, it's just like a broken cycle.
Can you also say that question one more time too? Appreciate that too. Appreciate that too.
My question?
Yes, ma'am.
If you could just kind of talk about what your experience was like in the youth criminal justice system, whether that's while you're inside, the process of getting out, or if it's affected you long after, just any of that process that you want to share.
For sure. With me, as I entered the facility, for one, that process was like, once we left from, so just let everybody know, so before you go to prison, there's jail. And jail is like another, it's like the process before, it's the process before sentencing. And when I was in Hamilton, like I said, I got sentenced to 6 months. You know what I'm saying? For prison, 6 months for prison. And when I came down to St. Charles, that intake process, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, I was there for like 2 weeks, but like I said, that engaging part, as far as like the staff, it was like, you know how like if you're going through something and like that they use your questions, like for instance, if I was in a relationship, I would be like, how you doing? What's on your mind? But with this process through the system, it was like, how you ever committed suicide? Like they went straight to the point, you know what I mean? And I just look at them, it was uncomfortable. And then on top of it, you got the shower, you got the strip, they have you squat, cough, you know what I'm saying? That little procedure. And then once they finish doing that little search, make sure you didn't bring drugs in, they have you take a cold shower. And that within that cold shower, they gave us like a baby blue jumpsuit, you know what I'm saying? And it was like some shoes, like it was like some clothes that you wouldn't personally put on. It was like they just gave us clothes just like here. You know, I don't care what you got here. They just gave it. But it was just a jumpsuit. Everyone throughout St. Charles facility had baby blue jumpsuit, but that was just through the intake process. And like I said, I was there for like 2 weeks, and after I got sentenced, you know what I'm saying? But before I got moved to the IYC, we had to shower, we had to wake up, you know what I'm saying? Every day, it's like be like early as fuck. Like they'll come in and be like, let's go on your doors, we're going. And some days we'll know, some days we may not know. And then on top of, you may not know what the CO or whatever they up to, you know what I'm saying, down to by you being in their custody, they could come in and raid the room, you know what I'm saying? They come in anything that contraband, they're ready to contraband it, and you likely get a ticket for it and be punished for that. I was musty, heavy musty, you know what I'm saying? Like off the stint of like the deodorant the deodorant that they're supposedly deodorant, not deodorant. It was like Vaseline. The Vaseline deodorant that they're giving us, it wasn't even keeping us function, like our hygiene. Like everybody in the whole line, just you smell must when you smell must. And it was like nasty. We had to shower. You pretty much showering with like maybe like 3 to 4 dudes at the time, you know what I'm saying? Whoever ready to shower. Daytime, we barely got a chance to go outside. Like I said, it's up to the CO, and then they had like this operation where like in like this just through a 2-week process, they had this operation where like they had to walk it, talk it in, just make sure they can get the movement and access, you know what I'm saying? We come up to the CO like, man, we want to go outside. It's a less likely chance that we was able to go outside, you know what I'm saying? And then the soap that we were giving us, you know what I'm saying? It was artificial soap. It was like detergent, you know what I'm saying, that they're giving us. And it was like a little container, you know what I'm saying, that they're giving us. And then, yeah, we pretty much just use that. And like when I went down to IYC Chicago, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, as far as education wise, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't no teacher like in front, like in actual school, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no hands-on. We was through a computer, you know what I'm saying? The teachers was like pretty much lazy in a sense. They didn't really like conversate with us, but we had a question, like I said, by us being on a computer, that like if we get stuck on something, we usually ask the teacher. But the work was like easy as hell, you know what I'm saying? Like real easy. It wasn't nothing that was challenging your brain, to be honest with you. It was like pretty much like elementary math, elementary history, you know what I'm saying? And then it changes throughout I forgot the name of the assessment they're giving us, but yeah, it changes, you know, feel me? But yeah. Yeah, it was yeah.
Do anyone else have any questions before we get to closing up?
Yeah, I think we did have 2 questions, Anthony. We had one from Debbie. And this is for the speakers, I guess. What's the most important thing state of Illinois invest in instead of prisons that would help reduce youth incarceration? So if you could fully fund one resource, which would it be that would have changed your life the most? And then we have one more that's kind of bouncing off Debbie's question. So Did being sent to the juvenile corrections facility help? As in, was the problem that contributed to you being sentenced in the first place solved by the time you left? If not, what would have helped? So I don't know if anyone's led to answer that. Yeah.
Kick us off. The I would say free access, free housing access, or some sort of assistance, free, like bills. Like if you do have a house like with your family, those bills gonna be covered from the system. You know what I'm saying? From the time frames that you were incarcerated. You feel me? And with that question that was asked, to be honest with you, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. It didn't change. It didn't. Like I still feel like I have the same the thoughts, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't no process to, it wasn't, I don't know how to say it, but like it wasn't helpful. It really wasn't helpful. I still feel the same. And truthfully, it made me push back off the system itself. That's why I'm really a prison abolitionist, because of the fact that I feel like I'm still institutionalized, to be honest with you. Through that. Yeah.
And I like to say that I think maybe like programs with like mentors and stuff like that. Because I think for a lot of young men, if they would have had, or if they didn't have some guidance from a male figure, that's what I think. But because they don't really, I can't even think of nothing else really they did that really helped for real.
Does anyone else want to answer that before you move on?
I'll just add on, if nobody else, well, if Malika don't say nothing, I'll just add on also, this, I feel like it's a big, heavy competition with like this insurance and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Yes, baby. Grab it. I can't. Give me 1 second. I can push it. I got you. I feel like with this competition with insurance, you know what I mean? Certain people is not taking certain people, you know what I'm saying, because of their insurance. So like with that being said, all access to anybody that's been experienced or impacted, and this just even without actual experience, but like it could be a relative of yours that experienced that incarceration, healthcare, you know what I mean? I feel like healthcare is like one of the main things to really be seen and we're really overlooked. So yeah, healthcare. And back, my bad, apologies. And just let y'all know, the things that I'm saying too as well, and that we are saying, this is not to be, I feel like this is not to be like, so if it is a problem with the system, these problems is not to be, it's not to be, go back like, oh yeah, there's admiral programming inside of here, you know what I'm saying? No, we need to abolish it and pretty much just give it back to the programs that's actually outside in the world, so families can be returned back to their family. Their loved ones can be returned back to their families.
I think Malika, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna answer the question about like fully funded one resource. I'm not entirely sure what it would like entail, but I would want to fully fund some sort of like outreach program that kind of is like catered toward people who have already had interactions with the juvenile justice system, or it looks like they're going in their way to prevent it. But I don't know like what kind of resources and programs that will be there, because of course everybody got different needs and we all got different backgrounds. But I definitely think that it needs to be some type of program that's other than just sending, the youth to prison to help them.
Okay. As we get ready to wrap up, we're going to pass it to Alicia to share a couple of things about about what our campaign does to support youth returning home. I'll pass it to
Yeah.
Alicia.
Thank you, Anthony. So how the campaign supports youth returning home. Weekly cohort meetings with directly impacted young people. So in these cohort meetings, we have political education, campaign strategy development, skill building, and community building. And with all that being said, we also have different working groups. So we have podcasts, alternatives, and the reentry, which I help lead. So basically, we're coming out with a toolkit within the next couple months. We held focus groups probably about, I said probably a year ago, almost a year, with youth that was returning home. And we basically asked them what's their struggles, what's everything that they need help with, and not getting that help through their community, through their aftercare specialists, all their struggles. So we felt like the toolkit would be the best option for, to help them navigate above all. So this toolkit will have a lot of practical things in it, such as I say getting an ID, helping navigate mental illness, shelters. We even have a coupon page where we'll have like maybe hopefully like Walmart or something like that will just give us like different gift cards to help them navigate that. So hopefully every page in this book will be they can open it and navigate wherever they have questions for. So that'll be, and we want this to go to all the youth that's getting out in Illinois, hopefully. So that'll be coming in the next couple months, and that's a reentry toolkit. I'll pass it back to Anthony.
Thank you to Alicia, everyone. Thank you to everyone for attending and sharing space with us today. You can drop one word in the chat of how you are feeling at the end of this event. Here's a few ways to plug into our campaign. Fill out our survey, sign up for newsletter, and follow us on our social media. We are so grateful that you all join us for the Final Five Friday. Thank you everyone for attending, and have a nice day.